What happens when a national song sparks a very modern debate over faith, art and identity? A fresh war of words has erupted between veteran actor Sharmila Tagore and BJP MP and actor Kangana Ranaut over Vande Mataram. The debate began after Sharmila Tagore said she favours singing only the first two stanzas at public gatherings. She backs the singing of only the first two stanzas. The opening verses celebrate the beauty of the motherland, while later stanzas invoke Hindu goddesses, which she said could be difficult for people who believe in one god. Kangana Ranaut hit back, calling the view limiting and contrived, and asked Sharmila to come out of what she said was Hindu-Muslim mindset. She argued that poetry uses metaphors and said Vande Mataram represents the spirit of India's freedom struggle and a call to awaken Shakti. So a song that once united Indians in the freedom struggle has now sparked a fresh clash over religion, artistic interpretation and national identity. Advocate Manasvi Thapar, political analyst, joins us. Ravi Bhatt, historian, joins us. Mr. Ravi Bhatt, let me just start with you. How do you look at these two arguments from the prism of history, and especially how India has looked at its national consciousness, keeping different religions together? How do you look at from a spectrum of history, contemporary history, and where India is?
See, when it was written, when way back in 1875, Bankim Chatterjee had written this initially written for the magazine Bangla Darshan, and later on it was in 1782, after 7 years, it was published in the famous novel Anand, but everyone knows it, nothing new about it. So that was the time, please understand it, when he was writing, he was above than the parochial feelings. You know, the feeling of different castes, religions, it was above that. And even, you know, the masses have lapped it up. It was not promoted. It was not a marketing, a gimmick that in those days. This was so touching to every single person of the society, irrespective of his religion, caste, or region, that immediately it has become a super hit, what in today's language you like to call it. You know, it has clicked with the mass. It has clicked with the masses. Masses didn't read about the religious side of it. Later on, then again, as you know, the Rabindranath Tagore, he publicly cited it for the first time, and again in 1896, he has done it. And the music was so great about it. The Jadunath Bhattacharya was the person who had composed the music of it. And when Rabindranath Tagore cited, till that time there were no religious, the contradiction in that. Even after that, in 1907, when Bhikaji Kamaji in Germany, she has, that's raised the flag of India designed by her only. On that also it was written Vande Mataram. And no religious person had any problem with that. Absolutely not. Now again, it was everything is started. It is like, when you don't have the cake, when you don't have the, then everyone fights for it. And once you have the cake, then you start fighting for the piece of it. Exactly the same thing that happened in 1930. The first time, Iqbal, Allama Iqbal, the famous shair. On one hand, he was a great, the poet, Urdu poet. But on the other hand, let me tell you honestly, he has a contradiction in his personality. He has such a narrow feeling that in the Muslim League session in 1930, the first time he has raised the issue that Muslims should get independent land. That means that when he knew the independence was approaching, he thought, let us have a cake of it. And gradually, again in 1933 and again, as you know, when 1937 was the year when that was time, this was the different voices. Since Allama Iqbal was a great Urdu poet, and he was very popular that time. People were taking him very seriously. Even the Muslims were taking him very seriously. As a result, a number of Muslims, so they started, just talking about the Pakistan. That means they united with the Iqbal. That group has become very strong. And Jinnah was spearheading it politically. Now that was the time. It was very difficult for the freedom fighters who were at the spearheading, like Jawaharlal Nehru, Motilal Nehru. I mean, you name all those people, Lala Najpat Rai. Those people, it has become very difficult to keep everyone united. Like in a family, if you want to unite a family, each member has to at times compromise with the others. The
Sure.
same thing happened. That time, Mahatma Gandhi and Tagore, both of them, they said, let us take out the fourth stanza out of it and let only two remains it. Not that they liked it. People are getting confused today that Mahatma Gandhi recommended and Nehru recommended. Oh, sorry, Mahatma Gandhi and Tagore has recommended. No, they had no other option. So that either everyone should have been united and just keep on fighting for.
But when it comes,
last stage of fight for the freedom.
but
Or
when it
they
comes to
should just-
Sharmila Tagore and Kangana, as a historian, looking at India from a with the lens of history and what's happening around, who do you think, whose side are you on?
See, I'm a historian, right? So a historian never gives his opinion. That's why judges, they simply tell the facts. Yes, and the difference is that a judge takes a decision. Historian doesn't take a decision. He gives you the facts and figures. So I'm giving the facts and figures.
Sure.
Right? I'm not giving the opinion.
Sure. So, Advocate Manasvi Thapar, let me ask you this. One, do you agree that people of a certain religion would have a problem in singing the words in today's times, as Sharmila Tagore has said? And if that is the case, there are other religious symbols also that are very much part of India's ethos, national conscience, that very actively is part of us as a country and our identity as well.
So I'll tell you, see, what has happened here is when the first Constituent Assembly finally decided through a democratic process that we'll be adopting only the first two stanzas, and before that in 1937 it was also passed through the resolution of the Congress Working Committee in Faizabad. And similarly so what has been so different from what happened in the past and what is happening right now is now we are saying that we should have all the six stanzas, and now so there was no debate previously. That is not the case. It was also debated in 1950. It was also debated in 1937 that the common minimum agenda of Vande Mataram was at that relevant time was that we need to oust the Britishers. And then in 1950 that let's not hurt anyone's religious sentiments and let's take India forward. And now we believe that we can go with the six stanzas, but this has to be properly debated. This has to be properly discussed. So it's hurting someone, it's not hurting someone. Even in 1937, it was properly discussed by everyone who was present during the time the resolution was passed. And post that, also an opinion was sorted of Rabindranath Tagore. And then finally a decision was taken. Yes, we can have Vande Mataram, and only two stanzas will be taken up, and rest four will not be singing it out. And it's a very patriotic song, and it was uniting our country, and that's why this was taken up. And now, if this debate is happening, this debate should have happened in the parliament. This debate did not happen in the parliament, and that's a sad story. You want to move. Indian constitution is a live document. Indian laws are a live document. So where you can change, amend, whatever you want to do, repeal laws and create new laws, because we are ever evolving as a nation, and that's how democracy functions. But by a circular, you say that you want to do that. And I also have questions to those people who support BJP would be that Tamil Nadu Sarkar, when it came up, when Vijay became the chief minister, he sang Vande Mataram. The entire council of ministers of Vijay sang Vande Mataram. And similarly, when West Bengal was being sworn up, no one sang Vande Mataram. So it is the duplicity, it's the hypocrisy of laws which is being played around. And that is something which is wrong for a democracy. You want to have six stanzas, you want to have two stanzas, and you want to change the discourse of the national anthem and the code accordingly. You have to have a discussion on this. So what is happening right now? There are two different opinions. One is saying that yes, religious sentiments are being hurt. Other is saying no, religious sentiments are not hurt. It was a mistake of Jawaharlal Nehru and Mahatma Gandhi, and we want to correct it out. Even if this narrative was to be promoted, it has to be discussed.
Okay.
Yes, our forefathers can be wrong.
Okay,
But you have to
in
remove
fact, let
that.
me just get in Ravi Bhatt at this time. For example, the Ashok Chakra Ravi Bhatt. When we look at the Ashok Chakra, isn't it, wouldn't you say it's got religious roots, a national identity? And just to add to that, you know, there are many times for what Sharmila Tagore is saying, say that there are people who believe in one God, and therefore they may not want, they may find it difficult to sing lines which include several gods. There's another option, and many people in India practice that. They would remain quiet at those lines.
Your voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking. Can you just come again?
Right.
Can you come
I'm just
again?
trying. Okay, let's just start with this question with you. You know, when we're talking about religious symbols and religious sentiments, look at Ashok Chakra. Ashok Chakra, would you agree, it has religious roots, but is a national identity?
Well, you know, when it comes to that, well, no one can entirely deny that. But it is partially, because you know the chakra is one thing also that gives the a movement also, movement of the society. Gati deta hai. You know, that is how the society moves forward. That is a symbol of that also. Apart from that, you know, dhamma. Apart from the, you know, that Buddhist religion. So it is partially both. But no, you are absolutely right. No one can 100% deny that it is totally non-religious symbol. It is partially religious symbol. Number one. Number two, I tell you, in that religion, that religion was very I mean, that's my take. That's my take. I'm talking about that Buddhist religion, Muslims generally, forget the Afghanistan. Generally, they did not have that much problem with the Buddhists. They are in the Indian subcontinent. Their basic problem was with the Hindus only. So when they always felt insecure. Hindus feel insecure with the Muslim religious symbols, and Hindu and Muslim felt the insecure with the Hindu religious symbols.
Okay.
Basically that. I'm not saying I'm not, my statement is not in the watertight compartment, right? So what you said, you have a point there. It is a partially religious symbol
Okay.
on the.
Okay, in fact, Advocate Manasvi Thapar, my last question to you. You know, look at schools. There are schools where you have prayers, you have the assembly and you have prayers. And in many schools, you have religious prayers. Even if you have government school, you have the prayer where you have the chanting in the end. Then you have convents where you have the Christian prayers. There are other schools as well. So there are schools where you have religious prayers. People choose to stay quiet if they don't want to sing that. Hasn't that been essentially also part of Indian identity?
So there is no problem in that. So the problem is coming from the fact of non-discourse, no conversation. The problem is there. The problem is not the religious angle to that. Tomorrow would be a time that we would want to be like, we would want to worship all the Hindu devis and devtas in the parliament, and the law can be passed, and we want to have a Hindu Rashtra, law can be passed till the time we are a democracy. And that वो थोपना नहीं होता. It should not be by force. It has to be accepted through the way of discussion. It has to be debated. It has to be passed by everyone. It cannot be passed by circulars. So that's the problem. And it cannot be like when opposition does not sing, it becomes a crime. When you don't sing it, that is not a crime. So that is where hypocrisy comes in. So the problem here is, which I am trying to identify, is that you don't have a problem with a non-singing of Vande Mataram in BJP states. You have a problem with non-singing of Vande Mataram in Congress headquarters or somewhere which the Congress is not aligned to your vision of Vande Mataram. So the problem is there. So you don't come on the same table because you don't want to have the discussion. You want to change the stanzas. Yes, you can do that. Even Ashok Chakra, the lion mouth was opened up. So you want to do that, you can do anything and everything because you are in power. But the essence of Indian democracy is on debates, discussion, and passing of laws afterwards. So that is not happening. And this is where everyone is trying to tell the people in power that let's have a discussion on anything and everything. And that is not happening.
But I mean, for now, at least, there is a law that exists and
100%.
there is a rule that exists. And I think till that is challenged legally or torpedoed, that is what stays. And it's for people who living in India really to work around that, to make it part of their ethos. And for Congress that's looking at doing other way, I think that's a politics that they are messaging to their people. Advocate Manasvi Thapar, Ravi Bhatt, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.